You're watching PowerNation.
Today on Carcass, our Spec Miata has a few things left before we head out to the races. We show you some quick tips on how to get rid of peel and clear coat and then prep and paint our Mazda.
We take care of a little fabrication on the door panels and add some new rubber made for the course. Then it's track time. We hammer down on the course to see if we can shave any time off our laps.
Hey guys, welcome to Carcass. We've come a long way on our Spec Miata, put a roll cage and seat in it, did some engine work, clutch, suspension, and brakes, and now we're ready to change the look.
So we're headed down to the paint and the prep booth. We're gonna show you guys a couple tips and tricks on how to get your car ready for paint. We'll go ahead and take care of this faded out clear coat too. So tight. Woo, steering's tight. And stop. All right, well, we're in the paint booth and we're ready to get started, but before we do anything on the outside of the car, we're gonna take care of a couple things on the inside.
We're gonna put a few coats of paint on the roll cage. Obviously it's in bare metal, so we have to do something to protect it. And then we're gonna take care of some of the bigger areas on the inside and also make it look a little bit nicer. And then we will finally get to the outside.
Perfect. I'm gonna take the seat out now.
All right, I'll get some paint. To prep the areas that have surface rust, we'll use a bristle disc to clean it up and it'll be ready for paint.
While Jimmy's prepping inside, I'll mask off the windows and some parts outside. You know, it's kind of like wrapping a present, but I was never any good at that either. So it's just very, very crude. That'll work.
Then we'll wipe down the roll cage with some acetone and lay down 3 coats of paint.
The inside of the Miata's all done. Now it's time to move on to the outside. We're really painting this car for 2 main reasons. One is we want to give it a different look. And 2, it's to do with taking care of this faded out clear coat. Now clear coat serves 2 main purposes. One is to make your car look shiny, but the second more important one is to add a layer of UV protection on top of your paint. Now after years of this thing sitting in the sun and having a lot of abuse, the clear coat has really started to chip and peel off the top of the car. Now when we go to lay our new paint on here, we gotta find a way to make sure this blends out really well. So an easy way to get started with that is just to use some compressed air. Then we'll come back with our sanders, we'll hit the deck lid and the rest of the car, and we'll blend all of this out. All right, well now it's time to start sanding. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the front. Jimmy's gonna take care of a couple things in the back, make our life a little bit easier.
We'll take off a few things to make masking off the car a little bit easier.
To prep our paint, we'll be using a DA. We'll start with 320 grit and slowly work our way up to somewhere around 600 grit. All right, well, the car is basically prepped, so now we're gonna roll this thing into the paint booth before we mask it off because we gotta be able to get to the steering wheel. And then we'll go ahead, give this thing a good wipe down, mask it off, and be one step closer to paint. It's so easy to roll, ain't it?
Light car.
Yeah, light car.
Tiny car.
All that's left to do is paint. We start the transformation from street to race car. Hey guys, we're in the paint booth and we're getting ready to lay down some color on the Spec Miata, but there's a couple things that we have to do first. One of those things is wipe the car down really good with some wax and grease remover, and then we're gonna move on to some masking.
And all this prep work is really what's gonna make the paint job look great, and I can't wait to see what this thing transforms into.
All right, let's get started. We'll wipe the car down with some Summit Racing wax and grease remover, and then move on to masking. Jimmy, you want to know a little trick here? Since we don't have seals in our doors because it's a race car, you don't want paint to get inside.
Yeah.
Wad up a little bit of paper, and we'll throw it in the jam area. And when we shut the door, it makes its own little seal.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Got taught that in school. Just like that.
Nice.
Tuck the corners in.
I'll do that over here in a second.
Yeah.
We've got the Miata all masked off now, and Jeremy's giving it one last wipe down. So the first step here is to lay down some primer sealer, and for that we're going with Summit Racing's white. This is a pretty obvious choice because the car is going to be painted white. We'll mix it with some of their hardener, and then we'll get shooting on this thing. With the car eventually being painted white, I'll only do a couple light coats here and we'll have no problem getting the coverage we need.
All right, well, Jimmy has a sealer all laid down and it's time to move on to paint. We're gonna be spraying Summit Racing's single stage bright white. Now the best part about this is it has the UV protection or the clear coat built directly into the paint. So if we get a little bit of body damage when we're out on the track, it's not a big deal. We just have to prep the surface and then lay this down versus laying down a base coat and then a clear coat. This mix is pretty simple, it's 4-to-1, so we'll just mix them up, head into the booth, we'll lay down 2 wet coats, and we'll be all set. It may be a little challenging to lay down white paint over white sealer because it's hard to see your wet edge, but make sure you have the correct overlap so you can get a nice, smooth finish. And after we give the first coat enough time to flash, we'll lay down our second coat. You know, I like it. I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, quick and easy. This thing doesn't have to be crazy nice because over its lifetime, it's gonna get beat up anyway, so.
Right, it is a race car, and you know what they say about race cars.
Rubbin's racing.
You got that right.
Yeah.
I think from here, then we'll unmask.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and throw the old wheels and tires on it. Then we'll bring it down to the studio, mount the new wheels and tires, and then we still got to wrap up the whole interior. So.
Yep, we're getting close. A little cut here and a tuck there, and we're almost ready to hit the track. The car looks great and we have it back in our shop now. At this point, we just have to wrap up some interior stuff. I'm gonna be working on the door panels, one of which I do have to modify, and Jeremy, you're gonna take care of the dash.
Yeah, we'll get it in there somehow.
Sweet, let's get started. For the passenger side, it's pretty straightforward because the door bars just go straight forward from the main hoop. So once I get this in here, the door will be able to close just like that, but on the driver's side, we do have to modify it a little bit. This side is a little bit different because of how the roll cage is designed. The door bars on this side actually protrude out into the door area instead of going just straight forward like we have on the passenger side. And in the Spec Miata rulebook, if you have the cage designed this way, you can modify any interior panels accordingly because, of course, safety is first, looks are second. So from the looks of it, if we set this in here, I already know where the handle sits, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to cut the door panel just under the handle, and I'll start by taking this handle off, and then we'll just cut it with the body saw. There you go. Easy as that. All right. I'll lay out some tape to make a nice line to follow with the body saw. All right, install this thing for good. Push pin.
With the door panels in, now we're gonna move on to the dash. Now we've already modified this to fit around the roll cage, so all we have to do is get this in, we'll bolt it up, and then hook up a couple connections. All right, now all we have to do is just slide the big plastic piece over here. Put it around the cage. We'll get it in there somehow. There it goes. We bolt it all down. Well, now that we have the interior all buttoned up, it's time to focus on the exterior. Now, before we put any parts on that car, especially these headlights, we're gonna restore them with a headlight restoration kit that we got from Sonax. Pretty simple to use, involves some sanding, then a little bit of polishing, and then we'll get them right back on the car. This first step is 1,000 grit, then from here, we go to 2,000, and then all we do is just polish it out with their wool pad they provide in the kit. All right, that should take care of the 1,000 grit, and then we'll jump onto the 2,000 here. I can spray these down quick again. Give this a little wipe down, and we'll go ahead and start polishing. So the last thing we'll do is apply some of this headlight protection, spray it on the rag, and we'll go ahead and just wipe it on the headlight. Then we just have to let this dry, So while that's drying, go ahead and get started on the second side.
To finish off the outside of our Miata, we have a new wheel and tire combination that we got from Summit Racing. The wheels are Konig 15x7s along with Toyo Proxy's RRs in 205/50/15. Those sizes are specific to the Spec Miata class, so we can't deviate from that at all. And because this is a DOT competition specific tire, they're going to be a lot more predictable and consistent when we're out on the track, and it'll be quite a bit different experience than what we had last time with just street tires on it. And not only that, but these look about 10 million times better, so that's a big plus too.
Woo-wee, this thing looks like a real race car now.
Yeah, it looks cool, man. The wheels and tires really changed it up, and it sits lower too, so.
Yeah, I think the whole package together should turn out to be a blast out on the racetrack.
Yeah, I can't wait to drive it.
I'll go get the truck and trailer, let's load this up, and let's just get out of here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Coming up, we take our Spec Miata for a little rip around the race course. All right, guys, well, it's track day. It's the day that Jimmy and I have been waiting for. We have the Miata back up here at NCM Motorsports Park, and we're ready to take a couple laps and see how this car handles.
Yeah, we built this thing for Spec Miata. This thing's pretty set up, and you're the guy that drove this last time, so I'm curious what your feedback's gonna be, how much better the car is now, because it should be a lot stiffer with the cage, and also we got sticky tires and suspension on it. So.
Right. It's a little cooler today, but I think we'll be able to set some pretty quick-ish times. We'll see what happens. So I'm gonna hop in, go take it for a couple laps.
Yeah, do it.
If I can get in this thing.
Wow, this thing's way quicker than it was before. So I just pulled back onto the track for the first time since we got this whole thing done, and I can tell you one thing right now, this car is way faster than it was before. And you know, it's got something to do with the horsepower, because we gained a little. But just with the cage and everything, the car's stiffer. It's got a tighter feeling to it. You know, the coilovers I'm sure helped big time. And we've got sticky tires on. Granted, they're not warmed up yet. And I'm not going crazy fast. I'm just trying to warm my tires up right now and remember the track, because it's been a while since we've been out here. But the car is a completely different car. I can see how, with a good setup on a car, this could get pretty addicting. Like, this car hugs way different than before. And this thing's amazing. Like, crazy fast right now.
It's hard to tell how he's doing from up here, but the car looks really good. Like, way better than it used to. Just the nice white, the cage and everything, it just looks like a true race car, and that's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I could have a whole lot of fun in this car. This thing handles great. And it's quick. It's got a lot of pickup off the line. You know, we had real big tires on it before. When we bought it, had big oversized tires, bigger than stock. And we've gotten down to a smaller tire size. We got sticky tires on it now. And this thing's crazy, like wicked fast. So I gotta be careful, because it's been a while since I've been on the track. So I definitely don't want to push myself too hard, but it sticks. It absolutely sticks in the corners. Like, this thing is a blast. And the feeling you have, the seat itself, gives you that comfort. It allows you to almost throw yourself around. Like, I'm not moving in the cab, but you could almost throw yourself around in here because you're not moving all that much. But you gotta just hold the lines. These tires are crazy good. They just stick like there's nobody's business. But I love it. Like, the car sounds good. It's holding together nicely. The steering wheel's in the perfect position. The brakes are awesome. The car's fast. Like, the car's really fast. Like, a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. And really the amount of work that we put into it, I mean, the car was relatively inexpensive when we bought it. I mean, we paid some good money for it, but it wasn't like going out and buying a $50,000 car that you have to now turn into a race car. It's buying a $6,000 car, diving decent money into it, but safety's huge. So like the cage, the coilovers, tires, we gained some horsepower, did some good brakes, and I've got a race car. I think that could hang with some pretty wicked built race cars. They don't weigh anything. Power to weight ratio is nuts on this car, and it's just fast. Just a fast car. So yeah, I'm gonna make myself car sick if anything. This thing's fun. That's 80. Yeah, this thing's an absolute ball to drive. I could do this all day.
All right, dude, you look fast, but how was it?
Dude, dare I say, this is probably the most fun I've had in a race car.
Really?
Yeah, I totally want you to feel this for yourself, so I'm not gonna divulge too much information. I want you to hop in here, and I'm gonna go up in the crow's nest here and watch you do a couple laps.
All right, sweet deal.
Nice.
If you like anything you've seen on today's show, be sure to check out more of PowerNation TV.